Have you been publishing no content books as of late, but not seeing much of a return? Are you even aware of no content book publishing and what it can do for your self-publishing business? Well, it ain't all sunshine and rainbows in the land of self-publishing. In fact, I've got some bad news. It's the death of no content book publishing, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're going to find out more of that in today's episode, so make sure that you stay tuned. Here we are, another week. It is a Monday at noon that we're releasing this podcast episode. Super jazzed about it. By the way, folks, if you are listening to this, keep in mind that this is broadcast through various platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Anchor, you name it, I'm pretty much on every podcast. So just do me a huge favor. If you are on whatever platform that might be, make sure that you hit that follow or the subscribe. And also, if you're able to drop a review for me, that'd be greatly appreciated. Before we jump into all of the content about the death of no content book publishing today, I wanted to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by the DIY Publishing Unlimited course. Get your hands on the of coverage of the self-publishing to date with over 355 videos and downloadable resources. I didn't say that wrong. That is well over 300 resources to build your self-publishing business. You have a vast library of self-publishing resources to keep you on track and headed in the right direction. Visit DIYpublishing.biz/podcast and use the coupon code podcast for 10% off lifetime access to the DIY publishing course. Again, DIYpublishing.biz/podcast and use that coupon code podcast for 10% off lifetime access. Well, here we are. I have been a bit of a predictor. I like to speculate. So today's episode is going to be speculative, and some of it's going to have definite facts, and you'll know when it's facts. In fact, we're going to lead with that information, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing the direction of the business in no content book publishing. Now, you're probably scratching your head. If you're an author, you're probably going, what is that? I don't know. So let's just break it down to a granular level. What are no content books? Very simply put, they are books with no content. In other words, think like journals, diaries, sketchbooks, line graph paper, any type of thing that really doesn't require a lot of heavy writing. And that is where no content books are. And it just is not requiring too much upfront investment, be it your attention or energy or even your financial resources. So no content books are pretty nice. I ran into this no content books probably, it's got to be 3, maybe 4 years ago. And I kind of was scratching my head. I was wondering, is this for real? I mean, is this legit? Is this something that's scammy? So just to kind of clear the air, this is 100% okay. And I've been doing it for the past few years. Probably haven't been publishing as much over the past year as I did in the 2 previous years. But this has actually driven a substantial amount of income here into this household. In fact, my wife has actually shared, even it was the year before last, where she pulled in excess of 5 figures in a single month when she was doing no content book publishing. Now, not to be confused, it wasn't her first month in the business. She built up quite a few assets to get to that point, and she was able to tweak her game and get to that. And she ended up going into an interview on another YouTuber's site, and it literally just opened the floodgates. And it seemed like everyone and their mother was doing no content books at that point. In fact, my own mother was doing no content books. And it seemed to kind of catch on. People from the merch community started coming over and oh, wow, this seems like it's an easy thing. Yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's easy per se, but it's easier than some of the alternatives. And hopefully I can kind of uncover where we're going in the direction we're at. So where are we now? Well, let's face it. Since everyone and their mother is coming in and they're producing a ton of content, there really is only about 1% of the people that are winning at this, that are putting out good quality content and getting rewarded for that and getting a fair amount of income. However, there's a vast majority, 99% of the people that are doing this are hardly breaking $100 or $200 per month. And, some are happy. They'd like to have that extra $100 or $200 per month, but is the reward really worth all the efforts? Because some of them are putting in thousands upon thousands upon thousands of these no content books with only $100 per month to show. And yeah, it's going to add up. That's about $1,200 per year. But is that worth your time? And that's going to really what it comes down to it. And I'm not going to talk about how we can refine that model and get people, the 99%, refocused. I'm going to really more discuss things that where we're going. So we'll save that for a future podcast, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. The issue that we're running into is people are just cramming content onto the Amazon platform. And, they're okay with it so far. They're fine with that. But there's going to come a breaking point. And here's the thing. This is where I'm going to start my speculation, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my track record and why I believe that my speculation and the direction I see things going is why it's going to go towards that direction. Okay, first example, CreateSpace closing its doors. CreateSpace was the big print-on-demand distribution platform owned by Amazon. CreateSpace actually had opened up and then was acquired by Amazon at one point. So what ended up happening is they were around for quite a while, and people were making a substantial amount of income, myself included, as well as my wife. But it was about, I would say, it was late 2016, around November of 2016, that KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, rolled out print books. Now, this is kind of confusing because people are like, wait, hang on. Why does Amazon have two things? And then immediately, light bulb goes off above my head. I'm like, they're getting rid of CreateSpace. All they're using is CreateSpace as that testing ground, figuring out how to refine the model and how they can bring it over to their own platform. Sure enough, this past year in 2018, they announced it in September. And then by December of 2018, they had forced everyone over to the Kindle Direct Publishing platform. In fact, there's even some people still kind of hanging around. They haven't moved their stuff. So now all their publications are floating around in the ethos, and it's not really getting anywhere. So there's that one. Then there's also small things like I pointed out a long time ago. This is about a few years ago on my YouTube channel. I said tags were going to be banned on KDP. Why? Because they're confusing. Tags were essentially like people were taking keywords and forcing them onto their book description at the very bottom. They just say tags, and they would have all these keywords. And what they were trying to do was gain the favor of the algorithm to where it was like, oh, we got all these keywords, so there's going to be more traffic. And it did work to a certain extent. However, the Amazon algorithm is forever changing, forever getting better. It's getting smarter, and it starts to figure out what people are doing. And so some of those were, caught, and some have been removed. But it was actually, I think it was last year, that Merch by Amazon started telling people you can't forcefully put in keywords without any context. In other words, you can't just put them just there, just kind of hang out. Here we go, we're just going to put a bunch of keywords, because it just confuses people. They're like, what is this? It's like somebody threw up a freaking dictionary. So that was the biggest issue. I saw Merch say, okay, that's it. And it's an Amazon company. Naturally, that doesn't talk to the hand too often over on Amazon. But news will travel pretty fast in there. And so this ended up coming right about earlier this year in 2019 to where there was the book stuffing scandal. And to kind of save time, we're not going to talk about that. But part of that change in the book stuffing thing, they actually added in no tags. So if you try to force that stuff in there, they will most likely either, as a minimum, put your book to draft and tell you, fix this, or B, they might actually come on in there and reprimand you. So I said this right here. The next one is AMS dashboard of. So those of you that aren't familiar, Amazon Advertising was formerly Amazon Marketing Services. Just for the sake of just kind of keeping things very brief, I'm just going to call it AMS. The AMS dashboard that we currently have now was being tested in the UK a little over a year and a half ago. And I saw that and I'm like, it seems like they're trying to test out something. And it was really cool. Within, I'd say about a half year or so, they rolled those changes out over to the US. So, and the other one that I say, and I say this on a regular basis, and anyone can say this. I mean, anyone can see this coming. There's always going to be these quote unquote experts inside their field. Some experts that are flooding the market that come in and they sell you their course and they sell you their program, they sell you their coaching, and they sell you their books, and they sell. They're here today, gone tomorrow. Why? Because all they want to do is make that quick buck and deuce out. They're just going to take advantage of a particular platform and they're going to go over to another one. I've seen so many people flood out of this. Why am I so passionate about self-publishing? Because I plan on staying here for the long term. This is something I'm very passionate about because I believe that you have every ability inside you to succeed inside this business and to build that brand and also to publish profitable books. So that's where I see. That's, like I said, that speculation, that's pretty simple. So that's my track record. So here is why I am speculative, okay, with no content book publishing dying. Now, maybe dying is a bit severe. It might be a little bit of an hyperbole. There's going to be some sweeping changes because right now there is just too much content with no results. And all of this data is going to start to pile up because you think about it. If you're a no content book publisher that's currently putting out, let's say, 100 titles a day or 100 titles per month, well, there's thousands of other no content book publishers doing this as well. And it starts to really build up. Well, there needs to be a server that hosts all this and keeps all this data and information. Let's just face it. No content books, they're stored in PDF files, which tend to be a little heavier than, say, an ebook file that's just like, kilobytes. You're looking at larger megabytes, and especially if it's more detailed, it's going to be, hundreds of megabytes. So this is a lot of information. So everybody's just throwing in all this stuff. And if it's not selling, Amazon's going to go, okay, we're paying for the space. They're going to be putting this stuff on here. There's no proof of concept. Nobody's buying it. I want to kind of point out Merch by Amazon started out right about 2016. It used to have the gates completely open. Nobody had to apply to get into Merch by Amazon. And I was able to kind of get in right at the very beginning. But then I would say within about a half year, they put up an application process. And then shortly afterwards, they had upload limits. And that means that people were only allowed to upload so much per day. And it continues in that specific iteration. In fact, they will only allow so many uploads for a Merch by Amazon account based on your track record. So if you're only selling, a few here, a few there, you're probably going to be able to do what's called tier 25 or tier 100 or tier 1,000 or tier 5,000, because they want to make sure that you are actually somebody who's putting out volume that will bring in the money. So I see that, with that limiting the upload, it kind of makes you scratch your head and go, eventually someone is going to be talking to someone, one from Merch by Amazon and one from KDP, and they're going to be going, what are you doing? What are you doing over there in KDP? You're just allowing people to just go ahead and just throw things up willy-nilly without proof of concept? So they're going to probably do that. And I also want to point out the whole throttling of keyword abuse. So somehow someone kind of had a clue from Merch by Amazon over to KDP, or maybe they figured it out for themselves. Nonetheless, there's going to be some type of a sweeping change. And if you see that it's already happening in one wing of Amazon, it's going to happen into the other one. It's just a matter of time. And with the whole thought of like daily limits, there could be daily limits. There could be even account limits. So these people that are just cramming out 3,000 publications, remember, these ISBNs are free for you to get over on the actual platform, but it does require money for Amazon to acquire those ISBNs for you to use for free. So it's something to kind of just bear in mind. So the other one I kind of thought about was Ingram Spark. It's owned by parent company Ingram Content Group, a very significant print-on-demand resource right now, and one that I highly recommend. They actually require upload fees. There's a barrier of entry. We're fortunate. We're very fortunate in that we don't have to pay KDP or Amazon to upload books. Okay, that's really cool. But what happens when KDP says, we've had enough? Like, we're tired of you giving all of our workers all of this work to do. So if someone's loading up 1,000 titles, humans go in and vet those, by the way, folks. This is something I confirmed with the KDP print team. Humans go and check those things. So if you imagine you've got 1,000 you're cranking through, there's somebody who has to go through all 1,000 of your titles. So eventually it's going to come down to, resources. Is Amazon willing to keep allowing people to abuse the system and upload high volumes of content that have no proof of concept and are not drawing a dime? Something to think about. And Ingram Spark charges $49 per upload and $25 to re-upload any kind of updates. So the other one is Kindle Direct Publishing technically is a platform for creatives. It is meant for people that write content, produce content, have some type of artistic ability. And I'm sure someone can probably make the argument that no content books is creative and you have some artistic quality to it. But that's kind of stretching the boundaries. There's no content book artist out there. There's either artists or there's no content books, or some artist that is using no content books, but there's really just no marriage of that. So it comes down to, will they continue to allow us to use no content books, putting them up there? So we just put this blank interior for people to purchase. Are people going to get that? I mean, yeah, journals, diaries, notebooks. People like to have physical objects in their hands. We're material beasts. We like to have these things to where we're able to jot out stuff. And, so that means that people are going to still buy that. But does Amazon want to do that? Will they end up splitting off into something new and improved? Maybe it could be like a no content KDP, which in that instance, that would be awesome. But I would bet that it would be something similar, again, to something like Merch by Amazon. They want proof that you are a consistent performer, someone that's not just putting out content, but putting out content that's actually raking in the dollars. So requiring unique content in every book is the next thing. I see a lot of people that are duplicate content. They're just taking the same line stuff and they're just throwing a different cover on it. And then that's all well and good, but the issue is there's even some pushback here. Amazon doesn't like having duplicate content. It confuses people, and if they're seeing the same thing over and again, especially if you have the same title, subtitle, series name, you're not changing anything whatsoever, you're going to set off some bells and whistles. Why? Because a couple of years ago, there actually was this little publishing scam that was going on, and a coach, one of these other experts in the field, encouraged their clients to publish books and ebooks, most importantly. And what they would do is they would publish this book for 30 days and allow it to kind of ride. And the 30-day window is big over on Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing and on the Amazon Marketplace, because the new publications are favored by the Amazon algorithm. They like to see new products coming out every 30 days. It's a nice little window. There's even a special category called new releases. It used to be called hot new releases. And they actually it's a separate niche category from, say, the normal bestsellers list and categories. So let's say you have a category called ab workouts. There's also a ab workouts new releases, because they want to highlight ones that are performing really, really well over the last the last 30 days. So that means that this is their way to kind of give the newbie, the underdog, a little bit of a hand up. So that way we're not just being constantly, getting our butts kicked by people that are well established in the industry. So these people were going in, they would publish the first 30 days and they would do good. And they would just kind of, profit money hand and fist. They would get some, reviews. And then after that 30-day window, if it started dropping off, these people were encouraged to unpublish or delist it and then republish it underneath a different product ASIN. So what it did was it was tricking the system. It was the same title. It was the same content. There was no change. Well, then Amazon noticed this. They're like, you can't do that. Well, now people are starting to get this issue. Now, this is scuttlebutt. This is stuff that I've heard through the grapevine. So I can only say this as third party, information. So this is nothing I have experienced myself. People were putting up no content books, and they're doing the same book over and over and over and over and over again. And the issue runs in is you're getting the duplicate content. So when you're doing the duplicate content, they're flagging your stuff and they're going in and going, no. And I've heard some people got some suspended accounts. Some people got the little hand smack type thing, like you can't do that. So just kind of be aware, if you are doing no content book publishing, do not publish the same title over and over and over again. It's not a good idea. You will draw their ire. They're not going to even try to sort things out. They'll just make it easy and they'll just go ahead and close out your account and be done with it. Okay, so what do? We're at this point now. What do we do as self-publishers, or more importantly, the people that are publishing no content books? Create meaningful content. Be deliberate about doing that too. Don't just go over and buy this designer software that allows you to just cram 10 pounds of horse manure in a 5-pound bag, because again, you're just only creating more of a problem. And when you're creating meaningful content and being deliberate about it, what I mean is put out a publication, tweak it, get it to where it is getting regular sales. Have it be a proven concept, and then start to build off of that in different iterations. Test it out with, like, say, different keywords, a different cover of course, a different book description. Try to tweak it ever so slightly and see if you can improve that particular model and bring in the audience and give them the value that they're looking for. Split test these proven concepts. Figure out what's working and figure out what's not working. This is going to be unique to you. You're going to hear people in Facebook groups or through YouTube videos where they're going to be like, oh, wow, it's back to school right now. Oh, it's Thanksgiving. Oh, it's Happy New Year's. You got to do all this stuff. You got to do that. You're going to know what resonates with you and also works for you, because I've done some concepts that I've crushed it in, and my wife has done some in that same, and she has done poorly, and vice versa. She's got something that she just annihilates it. I was like, oh, well, I'm going to try that out, and I try it out, and I just fail miserably. You're going to know if a concept's proven if you go into your dashboard and you see that you're getting sales. That is a proven concept. Double down on those ideas that work. Just don't keep doing spaghetti, throwing spaghetti at the wall on thousands of concepts and hoping for the best. You're just wasting everyone's time. You're wasting your time, and you're wasting all of the Amazon reps and workers' time by putting all this garbage content out that's not proven and will not bring you any money or move the needle. Think outside the box. Start to think more imaginatively. I encourage you, become creative in how you're putting out the no content book. If you see something on the market, don't just duplicate or steal the idea. You can model the idea. In other words, see the concept, see the strategy, understand what got it to where the Amazon customers were willing to part with their hard-earned money to buy something with just simply lines in it, or that was blank, or it was graph paper, so on and so forth, and figure out, okay, what can I do that's different from that, but still embodies how the Amazon customer was able to purchase this. So think outside the box, folks. Creativity is going to get you far. So the death of no content book publishing, is it really going to die right now? Well, we can only speculate. Only time will tell. But I will say this, that this train is going to come to a stop pretty soon. And if there was any indication, if history is any indication of what we can expect in the future, my last story here, Kindle Direct Publishing, when it was the big Kindle publishing gold rush, right around 2014 to 2015, there was an interesting system. It was part based on KDP Select program, and the KDP Select program means that you put your ebook into this program, and Amazon customers get into, let's say, the Kindle Unlimited library or the Kindle Owners Lending Library, and it's like a monthly fee for them. Anytime they would read your book, you were paid. And here back in the day, all they had to do was read 10% of your book, and you were getting upwards of, $1.30 to $1.40 per time they read, okay? All they had to do was read 10%. So this means that if you just pumped out, like, say, a 10-page Kindle ebook, you would perform the same way as a novel that was put out that had 1,000 pages on it and got read 100 pages of that, which didn't seem quite fair at the time. There were people that were just doing the same thing as what they're doing now of no content publishing. They were just cramming a whole bunch of garbage. There was a lot of just crap Kindle ebooks that were being put out then. And they were profiting hand and fist until July 2015, when Amazon said no more. They said, we're changing this model and we're changing it for the better. So they ended up switching it from just the 10% model to what it's now currently in the Kindle Edition Normalized Page Count, KENPC. KENPC is just another way of saying that anytime someone checks out your book as a Kindle Unlimited member or a Kindle Owner Lending Library member, they would flip through those pages and you are paid per page read. And it's roughly, it changes based on the global fund. It's typically like less than half a cent per page that's flipped, which doesn't seem like much. And we'll cover that for a topic in another day. Either way, it shifted it to where it leveled the playing field. It got it to where, oh, you're going to have garbage books, are you? At 10 pages or 1 page, some of them would do. Okay, we're going to see who's really going to rise to the top. And so it shifted this. So these quality writers started to come to the forefront, and all these garbage writers, well, they disappeared. People started bailing out of the ship. This is that turning point for no content book publishing. There's going to come a day of reckoning in which Amazon is going to go, enough. It's time for us to level the playing field. That way this makes sense. And that's where we're headed. So will it die? Probably not. It'll go through an extreme facelift to a certain extent. But remember, this is speculation, folks. And Amazon's going to determine what they want to do. It is their game. We play it on their terms. So that's really all my thoughts when it comes to the death of no content book publishing. Today's episode was brought to you in part by the DIY Publishing Course Unlimited. Speaking of no content book publishing, you can learn all about that on a more granular level in the DIY Publishing Course monthly. Get all the ins and outs of starting in no content book publishing when you get access to the DIY Publishing Course Unlimited. Visit DIYpublishing.biz/podcast and use the coupon code podcast for 10% off lifetime access to DIY Publishing Course. One of the nice things is I mentioned the monthly. There's the monthly model. You can actually get that for a subscription, or you can get the unlimited model to where you just get it outright. And you'll get actually the no content book publishing course and have over 32 templates that come along with unlimited access. So this makes it really, really super simple for you and actually walk you through and show you other ways that you can actually use some of these templates to your advantage and think outside the box. Hey folks, this has been an awesome episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure that you visit Apple Podcasts